Hello friends, I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? Look at this hair. It's getting ridiculous. Let me know in the comments how you're doing in about the hair. I want to hear from you. I don't know if we've ever talked about it on this show, but I have a condition that probably a lot of you actually have, and it's never caused you a problem. And it's called Epstein-Barr. And essentially, it derives from having had mono or some forms of hepatitis, which I guess are very similar. And Epstein-Barr is essentially the continuation of that virus. It's with you forever, but for the vast majority of people, it does them no harm ever again. There's never any symptoms. For some of us, and I'm one of those unlucky, it happens to flare up every now and then. And if it becomes common enough, if it becomes like, I think my doctor told me when I was tested years ago, that if it's 6 or more times a year, it's considered chronic fatigue. And if you suffer from chronic fatigue, they will give you high dose injections of vitamin B12, and that's supposed to help. I've never actually tried to keep count, but I definitely had what I would call an episode this past weekend. And in fact, the last couple of days of last week, I felt funny. I felt funny all week with my throat. And then Em started feeling funny, and her tonsil on her one side was really swollen and nasty looking. And then we both just were super duper tired. So I assume that's what it was. But it sucks, you know? It's like, if you've ever had mono, I don't know. First of all, when I found out about this, I had this period in my life where I was very, very tired, and I didn't understand it. And it had persisted for like weeks. And I went to the doctor, and they did some tests, some blood tests, and he came back and said, "Have you ever had mono?" And I said, "No, not that I know of." And he's like, "Well, if you did, you would know it." And I was like, "Well, then I didn't, you know? Why?" And he's like, "Well, it's a sore throat and tiredness and all this other stuff." And I was like, "Not that I know of." And he said, "Well, you have, what's called Epstein-Barr, or basically you have the reoccurring symptoms of mono. It's not full-blown mono when it happens. It's more or less just extreme fatigue, sometimes soreness from like swelling and stuff. But this last weekend was like just exhausting. I feel a little bit better today. I'm still very tired right now. But yesterday the girls came over, and it was like an effort to spend time with them. And not, I'm not complaining. I will, drag myself through the mud to spend time with them. We ended up walking to the park and playing a little bit. We ended up going to Walmart to get some shopping done for their grandmother's birthday today. Like we did things, but it was just, I was ready to go to sleep. And Saturday night, I was just done. So I didn't get a whole lot done this weekend. I started to work on Keely's headboard. I don't have the camera down here. I showed you the gimbal, and I ended up having to buy a new action cam. The action cam that I have, the version of the Hero or the GoPro that I have was the Hero Plus, which comes in this like large case you can't get it out of. So I couldn't put that in the thing that I bought. So I had to buy an action cam. I ended up buying one of the off-brands that has really high ratings, and they've been around for 5 or 6 or 7 years, have been really producing good cameras, and they're inexpensive. And I did some tests on the headboard. I came down here and by myself and just cut a couple of boards and wanted to test the thing. I ended up spending about an hour down here, and by the end of that, I was done. But the good news is the camera worked out really great. It looks great. It sounds okay. Like, I think it's going to be my main in the shop shooting camera when I'm doing woodworking instead of this camera. I might still use this camera, like put it on the tripod over to the side and just let it run, and it could be a good like time-lapsey kind of thing. But for the actual shots of what's going on, that little camera on the gimbal is the best. Like, I was able to do some of the YouTube woodworkers do the thing where they're cutting a board through the table saw, and they'll put the GoPro on the board, and it and I've tried it before, but vibrations and stuff, it makes the footage look crappy. With that gimbal sitting on the board, looked great. So I did. So anyway, back to the Epstein-Barr thing. I came down here. I ended up playing for like an hour, and then I was just done, just that tired. So I spent a lot of the weekend asleep. And then I also got Xenoblade Chronicles on Friday, the definitive edition, which I'm super excited to play. I played a little bit of it, but even that, like, I'm just tired. Tired. So I spent some time working on my No Rogues Allowed game engine. I'm rewriting it today. And I'll probably talk about that at some point this week. If you want to follow along, I suggest you sign up for my newsletter at cheveedodd.com, and you'll get emails whenever I write new articles. I'm probably going to write an article in the next couple of days where I don't share any code. I just talk about my pitfalls as a person. I don't think it's a pitfall. I think it's I don't know. We'll talk about it in the article, but I think that for me, getting going is harder than maintaining excitement. Once I'm going, I can maintain excitement. Getting going is the hard part for me. And so I will often just dive into something that I completely screw up and have to redo. And that's the case. So I'll probably write an article about it. If you sign up for the newsletter, you'll get the article. I'm trying not to talk too much about technical stuff here because I feel like, for one, it doesn't translate very well on this format of me just talking to you. And two, this has been more of a diary and less of a how-to show. So if you're interested in programming stuff that you want me to talk about, you can ask me and I'll tell you, and I might even do a show about it. But I don't want to continue to just kind of beat around on it because it's not what I'm here for. I don't want to say it's not an audience. I think there's an audience for anything, but I have you. You keep coming back, so thank you for that. But anyway, I'm tired. I'm going to cook dinner and might play some video games and probably work on my rewrite tonight. And see where tomorrow takes me. Because as of right now, I could probably go to sleep and not wake up until tomorrow. But I'd like to get some stuff done. So thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being wonderful friends, being amazing people. I really appreciate you. And I will see you tomorrow. Today's word you should know is badinage. It's a noun meaning light, good-natured, even playful banter. If you don't care for me, you can move on. I'm frankly not up to badinage. Harlan Ellison, an American author. Badinage. B-A-D-I-N-A-G-E. G? G. G! I said that. I said G.